There we go.
Now we're good. We're good. We're live.
Yep, we can definitely hear
Let's
you.
put on the Howard Stern voice and get live.
Exactly. Exactly.
That was old. That was old school right there. You back to last week's Raw, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Going old school.
Jeez, last week's Raw. Is it kind of ironic that last week's was old school Raw and then we lost poor fucking Mae Young?
Yeah, it was a little awkward there. That it was odd enough. I had heard about her passing before they released any of the information.
Yeah, there was a lot of miscommunication.
Yeah.
There.
It's the wonder of Facebook and Twitter,
It is.
because everybody knows before everybody's supposed to know. I
Yeah,
suppose.
It's like people know, and then the news sources are like, there's a bunch of people over here talking about this thing. Maybe we should do some research on this.
Social media.
Exactly. You may notice, ladies and gentlemen, we have a third voice in here. We would love to introduce our very first ever in-house guest. We've had guests on the show before. We've never had somebody be in-house. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Honest Rod, Twin City Wrestling announcer and superfan Rodney Bruhm. Rodney, we are very happy to have you with us.
Thank you very much for having me, guys. This is great. It's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent.
Loving the show.
Let's go back to the Ustream chat stream and see if your wife is still enjoying the show.
Oh God, probably not now.
Because the last couple of conversations may have just totally eliminated anyone that was. Holy crap! We somehow still have 4 viewers. That's
Well,
insane.
that's pretty good. 4 is better than 0, right?
4 is definitely better than 0. You know what? It's actually not your wife at all. It is in fact your mother. Oh no.
Hey, Ma.
And Rodney is out the door.
Do you remember that time I was on the No Holds Barred podcast for about 7.5 minutes, and out the door and back in that crappy Sunfire I drive and clunkered down the road.
Oh my goodness. Rodney's Marcus. There we go. Actually, you know what? Your wife is there as well under your name.
Probably, yeah.
With the wonderful comment of "Lucky for you, I didn't hear what you were saying." So I guess we just totally avoided your wife slapping me the next time.
Well, yeah. We'll
we
be okay.
And Rodney, your son Aiden says, "Hello, Daddy-O."
Hey, kiddo. Glad you're watching too, buddy.
Don't ask your mom what half of these words
No,
mean.
don't repeat these words. I warned him before I left the house. I say, now you might hear your dad say some things that are a little offbeat, and he said, "Yeah, well, the guys are cursing already." I said, "Yeah, just don't do that." So he's good to listen. He's just not allowed to repeat. That's
Fair
all.
enough. Fair enough. Yes, we really should just toss up a disclaimer at the beginning of every show, just like you're going to want to never repeat anything that you hear on this show.
Maybe very graphic.
Might happen down the road. I don't know.
What?
Might happen down the road.
Yeah, it might, exactly.
Yeah.
Do not suitable for school, work, or really the general public.
No. Select audience.
Exactly.
Select audience only.
So I think what we'll do at this point, we're going to get into a little bit of wrestling because between the three of us, that's just really what we love to talk about.
I love talking wrestling.
So let's get into a little wrestling, and let's start where, for us, it really matters, which is, of course, the great Twin City Wrestling. Of course, taking a bit of a break over the winter because it's hard to get everybody together when the roads are garbage, basically. So taking a little bit of a break for the winter, coming back strong, beginning of springtime. Kind of just wanted to talk about 2013, which really we've dubbed the Year of TCW, which is essentially what it was.
It was a great year for them.
It was not only their first year, but just was a really, really good year from when they started in May. I think it was May was the first. It was May was the first show? April, May, something like that?
Yeah. The first show was in... I have the poster up in my son's room, but boy, I could. The first show was in Blockhouse, which I remember that much, and I remember it being a crazy show for the first show, and I remember you being the ring announcer at the first show.
I remember some black-haired, greasy, hippie-looking guy that was heckling me all goddamn night.
Yeah. But something stood out to me at the end of that show, and I just have to breach on it. This is where our friendship started.
Yes.
At the end of that show, you came to me and shook my hand, and you said, wrestling needs more fans like you.
Yeah, I said wrestling crowds need fans like you.
And that really hit me home because I've been that kind of fan my whole life.
Right
so it was nice to feel that appreciation. And I mean, man, I just cheered that much harder at the next show, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Because there's nothing worse than any kind of performance, anything, where you're in front of a live crowd and the crowd is on their hands.
Oh, that's true.
That's the worst possible thing that you can have, especially in wrestling, because rather than sit on their hands, if a wrestling crowd gets bored, they're going to make up their own shit to entertain themselves.
Yeah, that's right. This is true. This is true.
You saw that perfect example of that was the post-WrestleMania show.
Yes.
This year. The night after WrestleMania, it's not that Raw was a bad show. I actually thought that Raw was a good show, but one of the big things about that show was that crowd.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that crowd that night made Fandangoing. The crowd that night just made these great, these great chants, and they were more entertaining. I'll never forget this one point in that show, which was the Sheamus versus Randy Orton match. Boring as sin. Neither one of these guys putting virtually anything into it. So the crowd is just like, well, we're just going to take this part of the show, I guess.
Go a little further with this ourselves.
And the crowd was with the chants is when they started chanting JBL and just chanting for everyone that's other than the people that are in the ring.
But that's one thing you don't see at a TCW event. At a TCW live event, you see people on their feet. You see people getting engaged in each storyline.
Yes.
Even if it's their first event, they feel the storyline almost immediately. You know, the performers that are at Twin City Wrestling are bar none the best in the Maritimes. They really are.
Absolutely. No disagreements there whatsoever. So looking back at last year in TCW, let's just kind of spitball a little bit about what some of our favorite moments were from last year. Either favorite moments, favorite matches, whoever your favorite performer was from the year, or
any Narcissus Saint match.
Any Saint match basically
is going to have you on your feet the whole time. Any Narcissus Saint match is going to have you by the end pulling your hair out, and then at the same time wondering why you're cheering him because he's a damn heel.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm supposed to hate this guy.
I'm supposed to not like this person because he comes off as a cocky little dickhole.
Oh my god, the mirror and the spritzing oh lord, it's a 1994 Shawn Michaels all over again.
It really is without the shades or Diesel
or Sherry for that matter.
Sherry. Oh god,
good lord,
Sherry.
if he gets a Sherry, look out.
The one that will always stick out in my mind is the one at the exhibition. The hardcore match between, I believe it was R&R Express and
Tag Wars.
Tag Wars, yeah.
And it was Chambers and Chip Chambers.
Yeah,
and
Chambers and Dangles.
And Dangles. Dick.
Gyration Nation.
Yes.
Yeah. And who
good
went
lord.
into the spike, into the thumbtacks?
It was Chambers.
Chambers? Yeah.
Chambers is the one that ended up in the thumbtacks.
Yeah.
They really tried their hardest in that match, and I mean, it took 2 attempts to get that table to even fracture at the end.
Yeah.
So they really gave it their all, which is what you see every time, basically. But They really gave it their all. That match really was a good match,
and that was them getting up in the crowd too. I remember, I'm sitting there watching the match, and I was watching what was going on at my far left, and all of a sudden I turn around, and Dale Dangles' package is in my face,
dangling in your face.
dangling, brushing slightly against my chin. Because he was literally right there, because I hadn't realized that him and I think it was Rod Owens had come up into the crowd and were doing their whatever. I totally oblivious to that. I was watching what was going on down here, and I turned around, and then all of a sudden he's just right here.
Well,
and I was just like,
The great thing about that match too is it had started to rain, and the crowd was like beelining it out of there.
Yeah.
And those guys saw it, and they just started kicking the ever-loving shit out of each other, and through the crowd, and then the crowd stopped, and they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. These guys aren't going to stop.
I'm willing to get wet for this. This
exactly.
is great. Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely great match. That was a great match. Sexton Phoenix, and though I might not want to say it, JP Sims, was an excellent match. I believe that was the second show in Bridgewater. That was inside at the exhibition grounds, I believe.
Okay, yes. That would have been, I think, the fourth. I think that was the fourth show in a row that those two worked but they worked together all 4 shows.
They had worked in Dartmouth.
Is that the show that you cracked your phone on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
At the beginning. At the beginning.
By the way.
At the beginning of the show, dropping it. And
Jesus.
Yeah.
Fuck that story.
Yeah.
But
It's a good story, actually.
That was,
dive into that.
That was actually a really funny story. But yeah, that was the same show.
Yeah. As shitty as an inside venue that is, it's still probably acoustic-wise one of the best because that was loud.
That was very loud.
That was loud. It
that
was
was
very good.
one of the and the couple of shows I guess that they've done in that because they did at least
2 shows at least inside there. Yeah.
And like I mean that was the same show where Gyration Nation stole the 4-wheelers. And
yeah, that's
like,
right.
Just a really and. You know, Fantana gets on the top rope and looks at the ceiling because he's like, 50-50 shot, I'm going to hit this.
Makes the sign of the cross on his chest before he backflips.
So good, so good. That was a fantastic show. Of course, this is going to be a little selfish on my part, but whatever. That's what this podcast is all about.
That's right.
Getting after the Battle Royal at the very first show, getting to announce that Dick Durning was the first ever TCW heavyweight champion is something that'll stick with me for a long time because it was just an awesome moment, and I just tried to Bruce buffer it and just yell as loud as I possibly could.
And you did an excellent job, by the way. Just announcing the first show was a hell of an honor. I don't know who they had lined up to do it, but it was obviously meant that you would, kick in there, be there, and do it.
Yeah.
I think, might be thanks to Nick there being involved a little bit to it.
Nick became it's other way around. Nick only became involved because that happened.
It's a vice versa here situation.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
No, that was a great story. Just strictly because we show up about. I think we've told the story before, but whatever.
Yeah, but whatever.
We show up about an hour before showtime. And Doug, of course, who's been a guest on this podcast before, is standing by the back entrance. And he motions for us to come over. I'm thinking oh, sweet, we're going to get to go in early. So we do get to go in early, and some of the guys are getting ready and everything like that. That's okay because there's nothing still in it, so that can goes that way.
Nice.
And a little bit on my hand. So
wouldn't be the first time.
Wouldn't be the first time. Won't be the last. Won't even be the last one today.
Oh, Lord.
So we go in. We think, okay, awesome. We're gonna get to go in early and all that jazz. So we go in, and Doug's just like, so the guy that we were supposed to have doing the ring announcing because it was supposed to be Lee.
Oh, okay.
It was supposed
who
to
later
be
did. Then after the shows became the ring announcer.
Caillou, for those who haven't, who aren't familiar with Lee.
Is.
Yeah, exactly. Was supposed to be announcing the show, and that's when he got a shard of metal in his eye or something.
Yeah.
Thought he had pink eye, but just
somebody shit in his
stabbed.
pillow.
Yeah, exactly.
It was you, wasn't it?
It was me. It was me, Austin. It was me all along.
Oh my God.
But exactly. So he couldn't show up because he was at a fucking doctor's or some shit trying to get his eyesight back. So Doug was like, "I need you to do this." I am literally just getting over strep throat. So my throat is not in any shape to do this. I'm wearing a Walking Dead t-shirt. I don't look like track pants. I don't look like a ring announcer. We'll put it that way.
45 minutes before the show, you have
nothing. I have nothing.
Nothing
waves, written down.
No names, no nothing.
80% of these guys I've never heard of before. The only people on the card that I knew were Phoenix, Sims, and Superstar and Matthews. That's it. Okay. And nobody else. I'd never heard of any of these people.
Which, by the
before.
way, where is he?
Aaron Superstar?
Yeah, that was it. Show.
He did that one show, and then he, I think, is taking bookings with UCW.
Oh.
Or UCW or Wrestle Center or one of the B promotions.
Okay. Second rate.
We have to say that.
We don't have to. We do because it's true. I don't have to say shit, but I'm going to.
Yeah. No, I have to. Cyril sends me $5 every time I say
Does
that.
he? No. So you're getting paid? Well, shit. I wonder if my check's in the mail.
Yeah, exactly. Wonder if the check's in the mail. Shit. So no, he's taking bookings with other promotions, and that's fine. Actually, I remember after the show talking to Superstar and just I thought your heel promo was great. I thought your match with Dick was really great.
It was a good match.
You did good in the He was the last person to be eliminated in the Battle Royal. I'm thinking, this is a guy that is going to get a push. Like, this is a guy that's going to sort of do something, and then he went with another promotion, which is fine. Everybody has the right to do that. Speaking of which, let's talk for a second about Sims, because you mentioned him.
Yeah, I did. I had to mention the name because it was a hell of a match.
And
he's a hell of a performer.
He absolutely is. We have no, we've had Sims on the show before, and so it's no disrespect to Sims whatsoever. Everybody's got their own career, and everybody's got to make the choice where they go with it, what they think is best for it. I liked the work that he did in TCW, and I like the guy as a performer. Again, he chose which way he wanted to go with it, and that's all good. I, for one, would love to see him back with the promotion. I don't know whether we'll ever see that, but
I guess it depends on how good it goes in 2014 for TCW, to whether or not you see some of these people who might be a little bit more inclined to be after a little bit of the dollar bills,
right,
before they're after just the pure wanting to work someplace that's goddamn entertaining, right? So, and again, that's nothing. Hey, I like JP, and he was one of the first wrestlers that actually, that I talked to at one of the TCW shows, and he was great, and he kind of hung out with my son and stuff. It was really cool, right? But on the same note, things like that happen, I guess. So maybe we'll see him back someday.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
What was, and I'll just sort of put this out to everybody, favorite match from any of the shows that you've gone to, any of the shows that we've seen, which I think between us, at least one of us has been to every show.
Oh, God, yes.
Easily. Because I didn't go to any of the Dartmouth shows, but I think you went to almost all of them.
All of them except for the last one.
Except for the last one.
And I was announcing the last one.
You announced the last one, so there you go. So we got all our bases covered.
All our bases covered.
If you had to pick one, gun to your head, you got to pick one.
The second to last Dartmouth show.
Okay.
Fantana versus Dick.
Fantana Dick won. I think it was.
I believe that was one where Fantana ran towards Dick, and Dick hoisted him up, and Fantana was hanging from the rafters.
Yes.
That's in one of the promo cuts. That was sweet. That was
awesome. Really good.
Yeah. It's hard to pick a favorite match because you've got so many moments from each match that are good.
Yeah, that's true.
One match I have to put out there, and it was on the 29th at Undeniable, and it was the very last match of the evening, and it was when Wesley Pipes
did what he did. Right, fair enough.
And that match was so intense. Anyway, you're going to get to see it on TV.
Exactly. Yeah.
And oh man, it absolutely amazing. That night was just fantastic, right? So the matches there, I think, were turned up a little notch because of the TV cameras. These guys were just pillar to post, knocking the shit out of each other, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the one match that stands out to me, which you kind of said a little bit earlier, any match with Saint in it is you know what you're getting there, and what you're getting there is great.
Sexton Phoenix also.
And
Holy shit,
Phoenix is
guys,
who I kind of wanted to point to there. The four matches that Phoenix had with Sims were all great matches. They were all a little bit different. Each brought a little something different to the table. I love the match that Phoenix had with Fantana at the last show, the Blockhouse show.
Yeah.
The match there that he had with Fantana I thought was fantastic. And the tag match at the very first show it wasn't for the titles yet, but it was R&R against Last Action Heroes, Pipes and Persuasi. Spray Tan.
Pat Persuasi.
Man, we lovingly dub as Spray Tan.
Yeah.
That tag match was so good, and that's why when I got in the ring after that match, when I announced who had won, got back in the ring, I was like, I got to say something, because this match came off so well to me and was so good. And I've heard a lot of criticisms about R&R's in-ring performance. I don't see it. I think they're not a Midnight Express. They're not that style of a team, but the style of team they do very, very well.
They're a little more rough.
Yes.
Of a style. It's more of a and I'm sure they would love to hear this, but more of a Steve Austin-esque kind of roughneck wrestling kind of thing.
Roughneck was the exact word that I was going to toss.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. And they are a fantastic team, and and every match that they put on, it's always entertaining.
Yeah.
You know, I still don't know how they get away with the cigarettes, but hey.
Well, you know, somehow.
When you're outlaws, you're outlaws, right?
Exactly. When you're outlaws, you live the term. But again, that tag match at the very first show, I got back in the ring. I'm like, I got to say something. There's something I'm going to editorialize on this a little bit because I got to say something. So the first thing that I just blurted out was, who said tag team wrestling was dead?
Yes.
Because that's what people have been saying about, WWE for a long time, is that, oh, the tag team division is terrible. They have one good team and the rest of them are just thrown togethers or whatever.
Which thankfully they've broadened since
they
then.
Have
actually.
a little bit.
It's almost
although,
like they heard a little bit.
Yeah, it's almost like
somebody's talking bad about our product.
It's like they watch a show and it's like the fat guy in the Walking Dead t-shirt said tag team wrestling is dead. We got to do something about
these
this.
Local guys are beating us.
Exactly. So that was the first thing that came to mind, was just like, who said tag team wrestling was dead? And TCW has done a lot to keep tag wrestling at the forefront of their promotion, so much so that they named an event after it, right? And like you had a main event and a co-main event and like a headlining mid-card match of tag teams.
Of tags,
and I love tag team. Like tag team wrestling is important to me.
It's kind of where it all begins, I think, for a lot of people getting into the business. It gives you a chance to watch more people and work with more people and improve yourself faster, maybe, So it's kind of the elevation, for a lot of these superstars. A lot of the best superstars, obviously, and I'll go back to WWE. Some of the best superstars in WWE started off in tags.
Yes.
Shawn
absolutely.
Michaels, Bret Hart.
Yeah, I think those are the two big ones.
Two big ones that come out, but when you think about some of the best superstars ever, a lot of them started in tag teams and had very successful tag team runs, right?
Absolutely.
So not the Rockers might have been my favorites, but hey, they're pretty cool back in the day.
Absolutely,
I thought so.
Absolutely.
Still pissed that Marty Jannetty went through the window, but hey, 92 is gone, man.
Exactly.
I need to get over it.
You want to feel old? That was 22 years ago.
Yeah, I do feel old. Don't worry.
I'll toss this one out to you before we move on to what we're hoping for in 2014. Gun to your head again. I love the gun to your head metaphor.
I noticed that. Like, is there somebody going to creep out here and put a gun to my? What the hell is going on?
My mother just comes out from around the corner. You answer the question.
Answer the question.
Exactly.
Punk.
It's like, wow, you guys get really into this podcast.
This shit is serious.
Exactly. Gun to your head. If you've got to pick your favorite performer in TCW from just
can't
based
do
on,
this to me.
I know. Well, you know what? Gun to your head. You got to pick one. You got to let a bunch of people down.
Yeah.
And pick your one. And I know it's a slight conflict of interest where you perform with the company in some capacity, but
in some capacity, which in 2014 is yet to be determined. But
right.
we'll get to that. I hate that you did this. I just want to throw stuff off the table and stuff.
Well,
I'm out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do you make
fuck your podcast? Never doing this shit again.
Gun to my head. Every one of them are awesome. Gun to my head. Sexton Phoenix.
Yeah.
For more reasons than I probably can say. But technical wise, all of them I can see going ahead and doing great things. And Lord, that would be a shock for Twin City Wrestling if they all went off
wouldn't it?
And got drafted by Ring of Honor and but Sexton Phoenix probably, and it's because ever since the very first event, he was a standout in my mind, and I've always been kind of a heel person. In WWE, CM Punk was always my favorite heel lately.
Right.
And I like the CM Punk heel rather than the CM Punk face. But in terms of that, it would be Sexton Phoenix also. So I always lean towards the heels, so it would have to be him. But,
again,
gun to my head, I answered your question.
Exactly. It is a total unfair question. It's not a fair question to ask, which means I'm going to ask Nick.
You're up, Nick.
Same deal. Gun
Hang
to
on.
your head.
Let me get another
to your
bullet.
Throat, like Chiwetel Ejiofor in 12 Years a Slave. I'm hanging you from the tree. You got to pick one. You got to pick one guy, and you can't pick Phoenix because he just said
That's
it.
right. You can't pick the same one.
Exact same guy.
Nope. I'm not letting you cop out.
Oh my god. God.
I know, it's not fair.
Why are you doing to
When
him?
he shaved
really
his
not
mutton
fair.
chops, he lost all of his
I know.
superpowers.
It's true. He lost
It's-
all of his superpowers.
It's all gone.
It's like when a girl has sex, she can't teleport anymore.
Well, what the hell?
It's something that happens.
Exactly.
Fantana.
You gonna go Fantana? Fantana's, I think, would be a popular answer, and just kind of interesting. Just it's worth mentioning. The person that you mentioned and the person that you mentioned are the two finalists in Madison Miles' 5th annual Maritime Wrestling Dream Tournament.
I had a note for that in my pocket.
Oh, did you?
I want to
right
mention
on.
this to
You
this.
See,
these
Fucking, there you go. Well, we might as well
wavelength.
drop it now. For anybody that likes Maritime Wrestling, you go on over to madisonmiles.yolasite.com, I think it is, or .ca, and you can vote between the two remaining competitors in the Maritime Dream Tournament, 5th annual Maritime Dream Tournament.
Yes, yeah.
And it's just kind of cool that two TCW guys got to be in the finals.
all of the last finalists were TCW regulars.
Oh, that's right. All the final four.
As
wasn't
Nick
it?
dances slightly off camera.
Around a little bit. We'll do the German dance for you. It's fun and gay and tra-la-la. I'm going to be real nice to Nick and plug his phone in because I saw it has like -6% power
You guys are
left,
like
so-
hopping your. What is this shit you're drinking?
These are Starbucks Refreshers energy drinks.
And this is look. There's like 13 cans laying on the floor. You guys aren't going to sleep for a month. What
No,
the hell?
exactly. We need to be up. We need to be up for these shows.
Up. And
We had to bring our energy level up to your energy level.
We got
So we had to.
something planned for a little bit later.
But I'm like falling asleep over here. No, I'm joking. I joke.
I'm assuming that's why you brought in something that may or may not be whiskey.
This. Listen, I'm going to leave my car in your parking lot. And I'm going to crawl across the bridge over to King Street to go home.
Right on.
No, it's just a Keurig coffee. It's a
Oh
Columbia.
yeah. Keurig,
I got the wife a Keurig for Christmas.
Nice.
And based on your discussion earlier about Christmas, I got her one, and now I'm using it. So actually, it was an excellent gift for me to give to her because I use it. So hey, any guys watching, this is what you do.
Is it actual coffee flavored coffee or
It's no frappuccino cappuccino shit. This is coffee flavored coffee.
Coffee for men.
This is coffee for men. Look at this beard. Frappuccino does not grow this beard. This is coffee and whiskey.
Duck Dynasty Bridgewater. This
Oh
is for men
Lord, this is Mentown.
with none of the fundamental Catholicism. Anyways, you know. Actually, because you're just this total wrestling aside, you're a fan of Duck Dynasty, were you not? Are you not?
I was.
You was?
I tired of it when the
Okay.
whole commercialism thing. I'm kind of an anti. Geez, go figure. A guy with long hair and a beard be against society and the system a little bit, but
Fucking no.
I'm anti. Commercialism, like the bigger Christmas gets, the less gifts I want to buy.
Fair enough.
All of our houses are filled with enough shit. Why do we have to keep doing it, right?
That's a good point.
So, but it's the same thing as walking through Giant Tiger and everything you see is Duck Dynasty. It made me want to vomit, so I stopped watching it.
Fair enough.
I still enjoy the show, and I do watch it with my son from time to time because he really likes it, but I just wish they wouldn't have gone so commercial, right?
Fair enough.
And I will point out, I had the long hair and the beard before Duck Dynasty was cool. Yes, definitely.
It's like Roddy Piper. I was rowdy before Rowdy was cool.
Well, yeah,
There
that's
you
right.
go.
That's
Right
right.
on.
Yeah.
So the only reason I even asked about Duck Dynasty was just sort of quickly, I wanted to get your take on the whole Phil Robertson thing.
I'm not a super uber religious person. I was religious when I was younger, and that's a conversation we don't need to get into. But
Okay, fair enough.
fair enough.
With your mother in the chat stream.
Well, so a whole bunch of my family is listening here. But I don't think it was necessarily wrong for him to point out his point of views.
Right.
It's a free world. I like to say whatever the hell's on my mind. So why can't he? And he was asked a question and he answered it honestly.
Fair enough.
So honesty shouldn't be slapped in the face by saying, "Hey, you can no longer be on TV." And guess who's back on TV, right?
Right. Yeah. Fair enough.
So, you know, in the long run, I mean, you can tell him he can't spit his religion to anybody, but we all spit our stuff to each other all the time. So he's just doing it in front of multi-millions of people.
True enough. It's the fundamental principle of podcasting.
There you go. I can say whatever the fuck I want, whatever
exactly,
I want, right?
Exactly. Fair enough.